I'm Justin with JMax Plumbing. We decided we were going to do a video series. We got this pretty cool project that's going to excavate soon. So I wanted to show you the behind the scenes of what goes into it, because on projects like these where we get to give a lot of input on the plumbing, build out the plumbing plans, there's a lot that happens before we even step foot on the job. So I'm going to kind of take you through my process, show you what I do, walk you from basically intake of the plan all the way through what we send to the field for construction. The first thing I'll always do is just kind of try and take it all in. So there's a lot going on in this particular project. It's got a lazy river, separate body of water with a pool and spa back here. And they got a ton of stuff going on all over the place. So the first thing I'll do is take it in. I do that by, I'll grab a highlighter and I'll just start to go through and mark out everything that I need to pay attention to. So starting in the river, I would mark out all the skimmers, mark out all of our returns, anything that gets plumbing, I want to highlight it just so I don't miss it. We got a shear under the bridge, another shear under the bridge. We got a palm tree, we got 4 deck jets in here, got another return, another return. Let's see, we got some deck jets. 2 deck jets. And then we got these bad boys. We got the river flow pump, another river flow pump, another river flow pump. Okay, and then we're just gonna take notice of where they have drains. We're most likely gonna adjust these drains. The draftsmen who put these plans together just kind of do a best guess at it. You can see they got their schematic over here, which we're gonna use loosely as a guideline, but we're gonna redo it for them. So that's a step one. I'll go through everything. Now, the next step, before I put anything into digital form, I'll sketch out a quick schematic, very quick. We know we're going to want filtration. One of the most important things about a river is this particular river has in-floor plumbing, in-floor cleaning system, is to make sure that we have enough filtration with enough drain pickups that we can get all the debris out. So I know I'm going to want to break this up into at least 3 filter systems. So let's start with that and we'll build from there. I also know that they want to heat this. They do have gas on property, so we're going to put a gas heater on each. Something else I didn't mention yet is this is a VRBO or Airbnb. This whole property is being built around guests using it like an entertainment space. So the reason we're going to use gas heaters is, number one, they have the gas to support it, and number two, they're going to want to heat this thing up quick during guest stays and then need to be able to maintain it and then shut them back off. Okay, so we got our 3 lazy river filter systems. We know we have 4 skimmers. We know we're doing in-floor. So we're going to give them some vacs. We're going to give them some skimmers, and we're going to give them some main drains. Oops. Yep. Okay, so on each one of these filter systems, we're going to give them a vacuum. We're going to give them a skimmer, and we're going to give them a main drain. We'll just kind of, again, this isn't about getting perfect. We will adjust things as we go. This is just to get things sketched out and started. You can already see we got 3 systems. We got 3 of the skimmers, but not the 4th. The good news is this has in-floor, so we're going to use Venturi for this one anyway. So let's see. We're going to put filtration on system 1, which is going to be 6-port number 1. We're going to do 6-port number 2, 6-port number 3. Then we're going to add a Venturi skimmer onto each. We're going to put 2 Venturi skimmers on the primary. That'll pick up all 4 of our skimmers, VS, 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 VS. Now we want to do some feature pumps. We obviously have the 3 river flows, no big deal there. But we're going to want 1 pump that will run the shears. And so we got 2 shears. I spoke with the the builder before, so I have a little bit of information in the back of my mind. For example, I know he was going to want all the water features on or off, so we can look to pair some of them. So since we just got, it looks like the 2 deck jets and the 2, we're going to pair that all in one pump to start. We might adjust that later, but for now we're going to start with that. Let's see, what else do we got going on this bad boy? We got the splash pad. So we know we're going to need a pump dedicated to the splash pad, and I know that this is a manual on-off. There's no solenoids or controllers for this. So we're going to put our palm tree and our 4 LED bubblers on that pump to start. Might adjust that later. And then we're going to do our tree. Okay. And then we got our big lazy river pumps. Okay, now we're going to start thinking about anything that we need to tweak. We're going to make sure we got everything covered. We're going to pull the in-floor plan and look at that next. And you can already see right here, they've designed this in-floor system as a 9 and a 6. So we're not going to do that because we're splitting it into 3 filter systems. We're going to do 3 6 ports. So that means we're going to have to do a little bit of zone work, rezoning in here, but that's okay. So we'll have a 6 here, a 6 here, a 6 here. And again, what's really important is not just getting the in-floor heads, it's the suctions. We need these suctions everywhere. You can see this in-floor plan shows 1 suction, 2 suctions. I hate it. I'm sorry, they do have a 3rd suction. What I don't like about that is necessarily its proximity. We got to check and see, okay, is this in the middle of this 6 ports zones, so that as this 6 port runs and this is active, is it collecting debris? So let's take a look at their zoning plan. Okay, now we're going to use some highlighter here. We're going to see how they have this ported. So that's 6 port 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you can see this will become the drain for system 1. Now we have to decide, do we like the placement of that? It's more or less centered in this 6 port zone, so that's good. So let's check the second one. This will be zones 7, 8. See, this is where we're going to need to do some rezoning. So this entire portion here is now the 9 port, but since we're going to split it into 6s, we're gonna divide this in half. So let's see how many zones we got. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got 8 zones. So we're gonna do 4 zones and 4 zones, and we'll double them as needed. So that means we're gonna keep these 4 yellow together. And then let's see if I got a different color highlighter in here, which I don't. So we're gonna create a custom color. We're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go back over that to change the color a little bit here, hopefully, so we can see the difference. So we know that this one, this one, this one, and this one. A little error there on my part. And then, so you can see now we have a drain that's not located in the middle of its respective zoning. So we're going to take this drain, we're going to move it to about right, you know where I like it? I like it right here. So we're going to take and move that drain there. Now this drain is no longer center justified in its zone, so we're going to move him there. So now, as you can see, we have these 4 zones drain in the center. We have these 4 zones drain in the center. We have these 4 zones drain in the center. So now we're actively collecting debris wherever we're moving it by the inflow. Okay. The next thing I see, which is a major mistake here, is, and it's actually going to just change everything I just said, is they don't have any in-floor cleaning in here. This says right here it's -9 TOB, which stands for top of beam. So that means it's underwater. So we're going to have to ask for a revision for them to show in-floor here. So I will have to rezone all this one more time. I wish I would have caught that before I started, but that's all part of the process. So we're going to add in-floor here. We'll send that in for a revision and see what they come back with. Okay. So now we've worked out the in-floor. We've captured all the skimmers, captured the bubblers, the tree, the shear, the deck jets. We're going to plug all of this in digitally now. We're going to talk to the builder, make sure we're not missing anything else that could have been added, and then we'll work out some of the plumbing sizing. For example, these suctions, we'll make sure the deck jets are standard deck jets, and we'll get all that tied in. Now, let's move over to the pool. Okay, so on the pool, let's highlight out what we got here. There's quite a bit going on. So we got a shear, a deck jet, another shear, another shear, another deck jet, another skimmer and a skimmer, LED bubbler, LED bubbler, LED bubbler. They're calling out a deck floor. I already know that's not accurate because we talked about sanitation in one of our phone calls. They got returns in here. I forgot to mention on the last one, we might or might not do returns. You don't necessarily need them when you have in-floor cleaning as far as functionality goes. So we might end up adding or deleting that back off the other one, and we'll highlight them in here. You can also see they're calling for this equipment being over here. We'll talk to the builder about that. Backing up to our lazy river, they have their equipment over here. So we'll just discuss that with them and make sure that's really what they want. In that scenario, you're running power to 2 different places. We're running gas to 2 different places. They haven't even adequately showed the space needed for what we're going to put in there. They're only showing 2 boilers. So we'll work with them to discuss the spaces and come up with a plan for that. Okay, back to the pool. So we got our drain. We got our 3 steps. We got to make sure our in-floor plan shows a floor under these stools. And let's see, did we capture it all? We'll talk about these fire lanterns later. We will be doing the gas run here too. Obviously we got the jets too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 jets. They're showing 2 drains and some heat returns, which that's not good enough for me. We're gonna change that up. So let's sketch this one out really quick. So this time, let's start with the in-floor plan. Let's do this the right way. Let's not make any more mistakes on camera here. So they're showing a 9-port and a 6-port, which again, I don't like doing this because you're gonna have one filter system running a 6-port and one running a 9-port. It's gonna be hard to get the same amount of performance out of the 9 as the 6 because you're likely gonna have a higher pressure drop on this system, and you might not be able to get this one compensated this one compensated up to meet this one. So you're gonna have one that's performing different than the other. Also, the other thing that drives me crazy when you do this, you got a 6-port that's gonna make it through all of its cycling in, let's say, 3 hours. Well, a 9-port's gonna take 1.5 times that. It's gonna take 4.5 hours. So it's an imbalance. So one partial side of this pool is gonna need 4.5 hours to make it through a complete cycle, and the other's only gonna need 3. I don't like that. We're gonna balance it out. So let's see. I also see right off the bat, they missed a step. So again, we're gonna need to ask for a revision for step that they missed. You can see on this plan it shows 1, 2, 3. They only show 2 here. They did catch the other 3. They did catch the floor. That's good. We're also going to want to confirm no top step in the spa. That's something that seems to get missed a lot. So we'll confirm that. Okay, jumping over to the schematic, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do filter system 1 with a heater. We're going to do filter system 2 with a heater. And then I discussed with them, they are going to do one heat pump on this pool. So we'll run 2 gas burners for now. We may adjust this later. And we'll do 1 heat pump on here. Okay. We know we're going to have 3 6-ports. And when I say 6-port, I'm talking about the shell we're using. It could actually end up being 4 zones that we double port some zones or whatever, but we're going to separate it into 3. We know we got the 2 skimmers, so on system 1, let's give them a vacuum, always. We'll give them a skimmer number 1, and we'll give them a main drain. We'll figure out what type of main drain they want to use. This one isn't so big that we need 2 vacuums. You know, a vacuum hose is 50 feet. If we get it close to the center, the total pool dimension's 50, so that's fine. So we'll give them a drain and a skimmer here. We also need to put a Venturi skimmer on each to pick up those 2 skimmers. I got this one that's going to go through here. Let's see. All right, let's talk about the spa now. So this spa, because this is an Airbnb or VRBO, they're going to want to keep this bad boy heated, let's say for 3 days during a guest stay. Well, we can't tie that in with the pool system because while this is active, none of this is running and cleaning. And the last thing you need is a client or someone staying in the home using this for 3 days while this is turning green because it's the middle of the summer and they're drinking in here and they're heavy use, heavy bather load. So let's draw a system for the spa. So again, we're going to have a gas heater there because they're definitely going to want to heat that fast. Because it's going to be running independent, we're going to need to add a skimmer in here. We can't depend on the spillway because they're not going to run the spillway when they're heating it. We're also definitely going to want to give them a vac because they'll need to clean that out. And then we'll give them a main drain for filtration. On the return side, we want to give them, we want to check the zones first. So they got a 2-port in-floor controller. So we want to give them a standard heat return. And this plan shows 2 returns here and here, but we're going to do more than that. We're going to try and get them 4 returns in this footwell. Then we're going to give them their 2-port here for cleaning. Okay, so we got the skimmer, we got the heat return, we got the 2-port. Okay, we got 20 jets. It's unlikely that they have 3-phase power here, so that means we're working with either a 3-horse or a 5-horse. We can crunch the numbers, but out of experience, I can tell you this is going to be easier to do 2 pumps and separate them into 10 and 10. We might be able to get away with it on 1 5-horse. But let's start, like I said, this is a sketch. So let's start with 2 pumps running jets, 10 and 10. So this will be 10 jets, 10 jets. We'll give each one an air line. So each one will have a blower. Okay. This is going to be spa. So now we got our jets covered, skimmers covered. Okay, now let's talk about water features. So we got the bubblers, we got the shears everywhere, and we got the wall in the spa. So let's start with the spa one. It would make sense that they would run those shears when they're in the spa. So let's give this a spa suction and our 2 shears, and we'll separate those separately so that if this is heated, they could run this feature and they wouldn't be introducing cold water from the spa. We also have a huge spillway here, so let's dedicate a pump or 2 to that. We got 20 feet, so 20 feet, let's say they're going to run 2.5, so they might need 50 to 100 gallons a minute max. So let's give them a pump for that. So this will be a pool suction. We'll come down, we're going to automate this with 2 ways. One side we'll do a overflow. On the other side, let's pick up these 2 shears here. So boom, boom. Shears pool, we'll call them pool grotto. This is actually a grotto lid. You can see there it says grotto. Okay, so we got 1 overflow, we got our pool shears over here. Let's get these bubblers taken care of. We got 1, 2 bubblers and 2 shears. We can fit that on 1 pump. These are just 2-foot shears, so that's 22 gallons a minute each. So we could definitely do that. But again, let's set this automation up for 2 ways. So we'll do shear, shear. I think we got 3 bubblers, right? 3 bubblers, 3 bubblers. Okay. Let's see. Is there any other features that we're missing? The deck jets. So let's do this. This particular builder really likes his spa overflows, and in the past he's been unhappy with the amount of overflow action. So let's give him another overflow line for maximum potential, and then we can pick up these two deck jets. The only difference is this deck jet's on the roof, so we're going to want to check valve that deck jet separately. The reason why is if you don't check valve this one, when you shut the pump off, all the water that's in that line up to the top of this grotto is going to flow back through the plumbing, and it's going to come out of this deck jet for 30 seconds straight after the pump shuts off, and it's going to get all this wet. So we'll check valve that. So we'll call these deck jets. Oops, forgot our two-way. We'll call this our overflow. So here you go. So we got all of our boosters, we got our spa system, and we got our pool. Okay. So the thing about this is you want to get this all sketched out. It's way easier to do this quickly on the paper for me, so you can start making tweaks. At this point, I'm going to call the builder. I'm going to say, hey, look, we found some issues here. You're missing a step on your in-floor plan. We're missing some heads in the splash pad. Let's get a new plan in, and then we're going to bring that plan back, and we're going to go through this one more time and see if it still works. We can also discuss with him at that time anything that we see, like already off the jump, we see we got two equipment areas. We're going to talk to him about perhaps combining those. They had already made mention that, you know, maybe they don't want two locations. And like I said, the complication is having to run a power supply here, a power supply there, gas here, gas there. So we'll talk to them about that. We'll get some clarity on these shears. We'll talk to them a little bit about that deck jet. Just try and make sure we meet all their expectations. And then once I get all that information back, we'll push this into our digital program. We use SketchUp, or I use SketchUp, and we can start tweaking it even more from there. So that's step one. Okay, so since the last video, we got with the builder, we got some revised in-floor plans back. We also ended up going through the whole schematic one more time. They definitely wanted to get all the equipment in one spot, made some other tweaks. We added back in the surface returns because we're gonna do some chemical management here. New in-floor plans worked out pretty good. We're gonna do the same thing. They did pick up the third step in the pool they missed. And let's see, in our river, they picked up the whole splash pad area. So let's go through one more time and zone out this plan so we can just make sure that our plan still works. So we got zone 1, we got zone 2, we got zone 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now we're going to make sure that we're happy with the location of the drain for this first 6 port. I think that's probably okay. I think it's going to be a little troublesome to get this debris off because the only way it can get off is down these steps. This is actually not a spillway. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a concern, but we'll talk to them about that. It's not really a splash pad, even though they're calling it a splash pad because it holds 6 inches of water. It's more like a Baja shelf with features, but we'll discuss that with them if they want to address that. Maybe we can throw a drain up here, but for now, okay, we like that for system 1. Let's move over. I'm going to circle the second one so I don't make this same mistake of making this plan look like a mess twice. So, okay, moving to the next one, we got 7, 8, let's see, 9. See, again, just like we ran into the last time, they're treating this as a 9 port, so we're going to break it up into 2 6s. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They got 9 zones, so we'll do 4 on one and 5 on the other. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll make that 1 6 port. And then we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the second 6 port. Okay, so are we happy with these drain locations? I'm very happy with this one. You know, we're hoping this debris will come out of this step alcove, get pushed into the channel, and work its way this way as, you know, as best as it can, or at least we're going to set it up for the best success it can have. This drain, I still like it where we originally spoke. We're going to move it to here. And now it can collect debris that comes in from that 6 port, that third 6 port controller. So I like that. That's good. This one, nothing really changed except for they added the head onto that same zone. But we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna divide this up into 3 6-ports. It looks like they have, well, let's count out the zones actually. Let's see what we got. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the first 6 zones. Let's jump over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could call that the second valve. Well, here, let's just count out the rest of these and then we'll divide them. So we got 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think this is what I want to do. I want to do this one, this one, this one, and this one on one controller. So these will all be, we'll call it controller A. We'll put this one, this one. So we got 4 on that one. So let's try and 2, 3, 4. Let's do this one on, let's get this one on a third. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we'll do all these 3 on B. Then we'll do this one, this one, this one, and this one. So that's these 4 on C. So now we got a pretty good spread. Sorry, we're gonna pick up 1 more on this one for 4, and we're gonna pick up 1 more on this one for 5, now that I can actually see. So here, I like that. Again, that's why we're doing this with pen, because you can make your modifications before you enter it digitally, and now you're dialed in. Okay, so that still checks out. It matches up with our 3-zone configuration over here. And the next step is going to be moving this to a digital form. So we're going to show you how we do that. So let's do it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, now that we've come over to the digital side, is I'm going to pull this thing into SketchUp so we can work their equipment room. So, okay, so this is how I do it. I'm going to show you a trick. So you get your image up, whatever plan they sent you, and then we're going to control print screen this. We're going to dump it into Paint, File, Save As. We're going to save this as a PNG to the desktop. Then we're going to pull open our SketchUp, which is the program that I use to do all of our stuff. We're going to load an architectural inches. And basically what I'm doing is creating a shortcut to get a layout on the backyard so I can start doing some space planning for the equipment. Okay, we're going to get rid of Susie. We're going to do File, Import. We're going to pull that in. Camera, Standard View, Top. Now we're going to find something on here that's scale so we can try and scale this thing out. So we see this is 50 feet. Okay, so now we're going to go like this. We're going to scale this drawing at 50 feet. Do you want to resize the model? Yes. Okay, so it resized it for us. Now, what's cool is you can make this a group. Now we can draw all over this thing and we can place our equipment. So I know that I want to get all of that equipment in this space. They've given me permission to use all of this. So let's get rid of everything they have over here first. So we're going to create a nice white backdrop to work off of. We're going to get rid of this and this and this. Okay, so now we got this big white area that we can use. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use it all the way to this corner. Okay, so now we've got our equipment area, and we know it's scale because we just scaled this drawing. So we got 12'9" basically by 42 feet. So now I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to jump into the other file that I have created. Okay. Now I'm going to dump it in here. So now we have our schematics that we've already drawn, some of our stuff that we've already been working on, and we got our equipment layouts. So now we can start playing within this space. We can place our equipment. We can decide if we want to rotate it, whatever we want to do. Just doing this quick just to give you an example. Can rotate this 90 degrees. And then we can move it back over in here. Now this is where it becomes cool. So you can jump back into your other file and we can dump it in here and see what it would look like in the space. Okay, so now we can dump it back in that space and now we can play with it. So do we want to move it? What do we want to do? So we can kind of work it. So let me show you. I got another one that I've already kind of accelerated that process on, so you don't have to sit here and deal with me doing that. Okay, let's see. So you can play with it and you got all your stuff in here. So let me show you what it looks like once I have it worked out. Here's one that's been finalized. So I ended up pushing that space in. I wanted to give a wall. I threw in our spa equipment, the pool equipment, all the lazy river equipment. This is how much I tweaked it. I added in, they wanted to add chemical systems. I got the blowers placed, panels. I even show like the guys walking in and out so that we know that we got enough room. This is a plan that I've completely gone through after speaking with the client. They added some bubblers, they added some deck jets, we moved the lazy river pumps. I mean, a lot has happened since we started with the hand-drawn and got to this point, but this is kind of where we're at. But it started with, you overlay on that full space. That way you can start getting things ironed out. And again, you're just chipping away slowly and slowly until you get to a final product. Also, I want to show you, so all of this equipment is scale. So if you look, for example, here, that's basically your heater cabinet. I mean, you got your 36-inch clearance here, so you're at 36 inches. Where does all this come from? Well, we do a schematic first. So this is the final digitized schematic of everything. And then we pull this down into scale. This is obviously spun up, so it's not to scale. But we pull this down into scale, and now we're working with real scale. So for example, most of our manifolds are going to be at 48. So you can see 48, just beyond 48. So everything is now laid out exactly how we're going to plumb it. And we can show that to the client and make sure, okay, is this enough space? Is this going to work? And you kind of go from there. So again, this is the final, but this is what you end up with when you start with your hand-drawns. We'll add in any details we have. We also do like a seating chart for the spa. So before we just place the jets anywhere, we try and set the people in here, and then we center the jets on their bodies. And a lot of times what you'll realize is like you need a lot more space from the corner in, because you got a corner of your bench right here. So let's see, if I remove this guy, for example, and do that without pulling the bench out. And then let me pull some other guys out here so you can kind of see. You might have placed this jet over a little bit, like let's say closer to the edge. But when you do that, watch what happens to this guy's leg. Now his leg is touching this bench. So this is a tool or an exercise I use to make sure we get the jets exactly right. Obviously, you're not going to have two guys here with their legs crossed, but you know, if they're going to use this space, this guy's not sitting there. We got those placed perfectly where their legs aren't touching this bench and all that. So we work it out. And then we do some, for our plumbers, we'll give them some planning on, you know, what's that distance. And again, just tweak from there, tweak from there. Now, if the client wanted to change to half as many jets, well, we just pull them out, retweak it, and go from there. But we got the big chunk done when we did it the first time. And actually quite a bit has changed since the hand-drawn, like I said. They wanted to do sand filters, so we're showing those now. Still got the same amount of pumps and filters here. We added one heater, I believe, since the hand-drawn. We also pulled out the 2 shears that were on the roof. They ended up going with one single 3-inch return here. And then what they're going to do is like one big shear. What else did we change? Oh, we added a 4th bubbler as well. So again, just a process that gets going. We haven't even set foot on site yet. This is all of the stuff that goes into it long before we're ever there. Back and forth talks with the builder, back and forth talks with the homeowner. We're getting this all dialed in. So it's not just plumbing. There's a lot of legwork that goes into it. And then, you know, we create a full plan set. We don't just send the guys out there and wing it. So hopefully you appreciate this little look at the back end of things, but this is kind of what it takes. And then from here, we'll print this, take it to site, and it'll likely even be revisions beyond that point as we change things. when the job is complete, we'll also have an as-built. As things change, we update them in the digital form, and then we can deliver to the client the as-built that's exactly how it was plumbed, and then they can deliver this to their startup guy. So pretty cool tool. I don't think a lot of plumbers out there do that, but that's our process. So look forward to showing you on site next. We'll step foot out there after excavation, check everything, and look forward to the rest of this series. I think it's going to be pretty cool.